Hello everyone, I'm Intercool. I bought a Robo 3D printer, the R1 with the PLA ABS at the beginning of this year, and I ran into a situation here recently where I needed to get the E3D print head. Bought it off eBay for 25 bucks. Lucked out there, by the way. Barnacules mentioned it to get it because it is a better print quality and everything, all that good stuff. So basically, I ran into a situation where I crossed the wires on my original and burnt it up, so it's time to switch it out. Alright, as far as the disassembly goes, since that's what we're going to kind of cover anyway, but even though I've already torn it apart, is there are two Allen head screws that hold the extruder in place, and you'll have Allen wrenches that'll come with. Pull those two out, that will release the extruder itself. So that'll be out of the way after you unplug the heating element and the temp sensor. There are 4 Phillips head screws you'll have to worry about. One style with the sharp point to it. It's kind of like a P1 size to it. That holds the PLA cooling fan. I left it plugged in so that way I don't get it confused with the temperature plug. Once those two are out of the way, there's another Phillips head screw directly underneath. That'll in the back and one in the front. That will release this. And the only suggestion I would have would be to take the case off, and before you dismantle anything, make sure it's sitting up a little bit higher so you can get a screwdriver underneath there. And that'll be it. Alright, now as far as disassembly, I cut my wire ends above the brass connectors they used. And then I stripped it back. It's going to have a little bit of fuzzies to it, so depending on what you're doing, you might have to sit there and clean it up a little bit more, but since I'm just clamping right now, I don't have to worry about it. Same thing with the temp sensor. I cut it above the solder, so that way I can reuse this temp sensor maybe later on or backup, whatever. Picked up the red barrel connectors from AutoZone because I'm going to clamp it all together now, test run it, make sure everything's running good, and then I'll probably pull it all back apart and solder it later. And then the E3D print head will have a lot more wire to it than this. I trimmed it down because that's more than enough than what I'm going to need for this project. Also, the fan that comes on it has a particular generic plug to it, so I'll be cutting that off and putting the one on from the stock fan. And we'll go from there. Alright, so just getting it together. Thankfully there's no confusion on what color is what because the heating block is technically a direct short anyway. Also, I've already done one wire, but I want to show you how to do this particular wire. Take an X-Acto knife or a razor blade and do the, because it is going to be smaller than what a normal wire stripper can take care of, and then just do the roll and cut and then pull. That'll make that easier. Make sure you do don't want to mix them up. Make sure, well, not that that's already done, but make sure you get the thinner wires to the thinner wires and the thicker wires to the thicker ones because of the load that they're going to be running. Factory ends are coming off. Make sure you have plenty on your pigtail, otherwise you're going to run short. Alright, that is right where it needs to be. Oh, and then obviously make sure you line your black to black, red to red when it comes to the fan, because that obviously is important. Yeah, I do suggest soldering it after you make sure you have everything together, because I'm sure these little barrel connectors are going to get in the way later. Alright, and then that is everything. They are all in. I will set this camera up to watch the install. Alright, so now that the E3D print head is bigger than the stock setup, you will not be putting in the little fan shroud. So I'll just be putting it in as is and screw these in by hand just to kind of get a bite on it. And then you can run that in a little bit. I'm going to need to get some zip ties to run this properly, but for now we're just going to set it up and kind of see how it runs. Yeah, that's definitely going to need some zip ties. So I will run that in on this side. That's close enough for now. I'll tighten it up later. So now that the wires are all set up, I'll run some temporary ties for it here in a minute. It probably will become fun until you get a bit. I'm probably have to stop the video and play with that to get it in the hole properly because of the curve that it's got. Alright everybody, I got it fired up. I just double checked everything, and something I will make a point on, aside from the fact that I'm using a clothespin to hold wires up right now. Set that just a tad closer. Double check and shake the camera. Alright. I'm only have a, alright, that's temporary. Like I said, I'm going to probably take this all back apart and solder it up probably tomorrow. The reason why this fan is just hanging on for dear life is because I ran into the situation of burning up my original extruder, so I wasn't able to print off. There is a fan shroud, which if I can't find the link for, I will put the link to Barnacles' video. He has a lot more videos on 3D printing. He's really good at it, really knowledgeable. But as you can see, it's sitting on the bed. This one has auto level built in, and on the tool control, I'll zoom in here so you guys can see what's going on. As you can see, it is now saying 0 for the Z range, but something I forgot to point out is this factory extruder is a lot shorter than the E3D one. So this thing, when I was hitting the down button for the Z control, it felt it hit the bed and then it just started freaking out. I had to hit the emergency stop, and I was able to walk it back down till it just barely, just as it touched, as I showed earlier, and then I hit zero it out, so it just zeroes it out. Otherwise everything else should be where it belongs, and we'll fire it up here in just a second. Firing up both the extruder and the heat bed. It's clean enough for what we're going to be doing. Also, I'm sure you guys have looked up, for those that haven't, I've been using Suave Extreme Hold hairspray for the heat bed. I just hose it on there till it looks like glass. Nice even strokes back and forth. And then once you've done plenty of prints and it looks pretty nasty, I use just regular Windex to pull it off with a razor blade. It's heating up at the moment. Let me back this out a little bit so you can see what's going on. And I'll do just a quick test print. We'll go from there. Alright everybody, I got it warmed up. It took a little bit longer than normal, so I decided to edit that out. Also, I always just run it a little bit, make sure it's spitting out proper. And so far it looks pretty decent. So let's go ahead and put something in and Fire it up. So yeah, definitely a suggestion to solder and shrink tube those wires. Like I said, I'm just running these barrel connectors because as you've seen, it just caught my belt tensioner. Not that it caused a problem, but you never know. If you're not paying attention, once it gets going fast, you never know if it'll catch. So. Alright guys, just finished up the print a little bit ago. It turned out pretty nice. So anyway, I'll show you what it looks like so far. Sorry, the light's not the greatest in the dining room here. But as you can see, the surface is fairly contoured. This is actually an older print I did with a different color, but you can see how it's sunk in. It's a little rougher. Plus the edge difference. Here, let's see if I can do that where you can see it. There is a definite quality difference also. I can't really say that that's because of the two different heads, but in this case it might be. So anyway, I'll get those soldered up and zip tied into place so that way things work a lot nicer and look decent. So anyway, I hope this video helped out. Anybody that's been wanting to put in a E3D print head, I'm just getting started with this stuff, so if you can hit like, I'd appreciate it. Also, you can subscribe. I'm also trying to do some amateur drag racing this summer. Get back to it. I have older videos, but I have a better camera now, so we'll see how things go. So anyway, catch you later.